There's a version of leadership failure that is easy to see and easy to name: the leader who does not know the job, the leader who does not care enough to do it properly, the leader who is checked out, dishonest, or simply not capable of the role they occupy. These failures are visible. They can be diagnosed and corrected with the right intervention and the will to make it. Then there is the failure that is considerably harder to see because it comes packaged as a strength. The leader who is decisive, who is actually unable to consider they might be wrong about this specific decision. The leader who has high standards, who is actually unable to hear that their standards might themselves be the problem in this situation. The leader who is confident, who is actually unable to be challenged without experiencing the challenge as a personal attack rather than useful information. The leader who has a clear vision, who is actually unable to update that vision when the conditions it was built for have materially changed. Willink identifies ego as the single greatest threat to effective leadership, not the obvious ego of overt arrogance or self-promotion that others can easily name. The subtle ego that presents itself as competence, decisiveness, vision, high standards, and is underneath all of it a need to be right that quietly sits above the need to achieve the mission. Here is why this matters at the level of practical leadership rather than personal character. The leader with unchecked ego makes systematically worse decisions. Not because they are less intelligent, because they are operating with incomplete information they have structurally ensured will remain incomplete. The team of an ego-driven leader learns very quickly which conclusions are off the table, that the leader's preferred approach is not genuinely open to challenge, that raising a serious concern about the direction will be received as disloyalty or incompetence, rather than as useful information that could improve the outcome for everyone. So the team stops raising those concerns, not all at once, gradually and individually. Each person makes a rational private calculation that the cost of challenging the leader exceeds the benefit and adjusts their behavior accordingly over time. The leader now has a team that agrees with them substantially more than the situation warrants. They experience this as evidence that their judgment is sound and their direction is correct. They are experiencing the result of having built in an environment where disagreement has become professionally inadvisable. This compounds in a specific and self-reinforcing way. Decisions that go well are attributed to the leader's judgment and vision. Decisions that go badly are attributed to execution failures, external factors, unusual circumstances that made this case different. The ego is never genuinely updated by contrary evidence, because the contrary evidence is always explained away before it can produce the honest self-examination that would actually change something. Willink introduces detachment as the structural solution, the deliberate practice of stepping back from the immediate situation, from the emotional investment of the moment, from the need for a particular outcome, to see the operational picture as it actually is, rather than as the ego requires it to be. Detachment is not disengagement from the mission or the team. It is the discipline of maintaining clear perspective under real pressure, of being able to say this approach is not working and changing course without experiencing the course change as a personal defeat that needs to be minimized or explained away. The leader who can do this has a significant and compounding advantage, because the leader who cannot detach is always defending the last decision rather than making the best next one, spending cognitive and relational resources on protecting a position rather than on the outcome the position was supposed to produce. The action before the final episode is the most personally demanding in this series. Identify one decision or direction you are currently committed to where you have not genuinely entertained the possibility that you are wrong, not where you heard the counter-arguments and dismissed them on their merits, where you have not really let them in at all, where the investment in being right has quietly become more important than the quality of the outcome. Sit with that honestly for 10 minutes, because a leader who cannot do that is not leading toward the best available outcome. They are defending a position, and defending a position and leading a team toward a mission are not the same thing. Episode 5 closes the series with the one question every leader needs to ask about their current team, and almost none of them do. Subscribe so you do not miss it.